Busy day there. Thanks, Aaron. Well, evictions dockets are back open in Tulsa County. Disputes between landlords and tenants have long been an issue in the city. A crisis experts say was happening way before the pandemic. Now that eviction cases are again facing a judge, many find themselves in predicaments, either unable to pay rent because of COVID-19 unemployment, or landlords unable to make ends meet without renters paying up.
I got an eviction notice in the mail just yesterday.
This is the sad reality for Nyla Gordon, who lost her job during the pandemic. She says she has yet to receive an unemployment or stimulus check and is now falling on hard times, wondering how she'll provide for her family.
I love you.
I'm struggling, and this is very difficult for me because, like I said, I have a little child.
Unfortunately, the eviction crisis existed long before the pandemic, and a recent study by the University of Tulsa is narrowing down the issue.
What we saw is that the system really, because of Tulsa's high rate of evictions, the system really relies on tenants not knowing their rights and not demanding their rights.
Eviction, they can come knocking on the door at any moment now.
The study shows Tulsans living in economic disparity face a legal system weighted against them, according to research done in January.
Out of almost 1,400 cases, only 2 cases resulted in judgments for the tenant.
Professor Ronnie Ahmed with TU's law school says 65% of tenants don't show up to court, automatically forfeiting their eviction case. And there's a big power imbalance between landlords and tenants in the courtroom.
The first imbalance is that around 88% of landlords were represented, and among those tenants who show up in court, only about 11% of tenants had representation.
Since 2019, more than 14,000 eviction cases were filed in Tulsa County. This year, eviction rates are down with just over 4,100 cases filed. However, officials say that number is expected to rise. Of these cases, the county deputy clerk says greater than 98% are residential, with those renters owing their landlords $5,000 in rent or less. Since March, renters facing unemployment got a grace period enforced by the government under the CARES Act. However, that time is up as eviction proceedings resume, and renters still struggling to make ends meet are at a loss.
I've worked all my life. I've never been late on my rent. Always am on time. I got 1 month behind, and I called the apartments and told them that United Way was trying to help me, and I have other resources trying to help me. And they said that they don't fall under the CARES Act.
And a copy of the letter.
And it's not just renters. On the other side of the coin are landlords, relying on tenants to support their livelihood.
We have insurance on the houses every month, and so what they pay is not totally income for us because we have expenses every month on that. And then at the end of the year, we've got a huge tax bill. So I have a drawer like this full of tenants' records.
Dorothy Forbes owns 4 rental homes in Tulsa. She says before the pandemic, she was going to evict a tenant who refused to pay rent. But then COVID hit, pausing her ability to do so.
We have been waiting now for, since probably 6 months to get these renters out.
Dorothy says she's lost almost $3,000. And many landlords are facing the same financial crisis.
I am concerned. I need the rent so that I can pay these bills, because if we don't, then they put a lien on the property and it gets worse.
So what can renters and landlords do? Tulsa County District Judge Caroline Wall says renters often don't know help is available.
We've got 3 agencies on site here now, as you've seen with the socially distanced rooms, and that includes Still She Rises. Those are volunteer attorneys that serve special needs of our community. Then we have Legal Aid Services of Oklahoma, also pro bono attorneys, and we have the Tulsa County Bar Association pro bono advocates.
Looks like a little sister and brother right there.
For tenants, the law says you cannot be evicted without written notice. By law, renters typically have 5 days after a written demand for payment to settle the eviction. For those who pay monthly, renters must be given 30 days notice before the lease is terminated, and vice versa.